We're four friends with hot takes on food media.
And we're here to review and recap all kinds of food shows in bite-sized seasons.
Plus, virtual potlucks, cooking adventures, and food memes.
Welcome to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes.
Hi, it's Justine.
And it's me, Meg. It's just us. We won't sing this time, I promise.
No.
Welcome to another episode of Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes. We're back with more of the Great British Bake Off 2022, the reality competition cooking show that crowns Britain's best amateur baker. On the menu for today, we're covering Episode 5, Dessert Week, and Episode 6, Halloween Week. Spooky! But before we turn on our ovens, let's find out what we've been cooking and eating and getting up to in the kitchen. Justine, tell me all about it.
I cooked.
Yay!
Boy, did I ever. So I'm actually not doing anything for Thanksgiving this year, so I had kind of an early, small Thanksgiving. I had a couple of friends over who were going to be out of town. So I was like, I'm going to make food. And I did. I made a lentil shepherd's pie.
Ooh.
And I made, for the first time ever, cornbread that was gluten-free.
Nice.
And gravy to go with it. And for dessert, a chocolate hazelnut coconut tart.
Very nice. Was it vertical? Oh, no, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Stop. Everything came out delicious. I thought I was going to mess up the tart because I didn't read, and I had a recipe for a 9.5-inch tart in a 12-inch tart pan, but it was fine. Everything turned out fine. It just didn't have sides, but it was still delicious tart, you know?
Yeah, as long as it wasn't, running off the side of the plate.
It wasn't. It was good because my ganache was nice and thick because, I make the coconut milk ganache. It's beautiful. Oh, so good. I'm tart queen over here, not to usurp my previous crown of pesto queen.
You can't be queen of everything.
Come on. Like I said, I'm not going to have a story for Thanksgiving like the rest of my pals. I'm sorry, but here it is already. I might try some new things over Thanksgiving. Who knows? I've got 5 days to just do whatever I want. It'll be glory, so maybe I will.
That sounds fun. I've always loved the concept of Friendsgiving, but I've yet to celebrate it. But someday I would love to do that.
So what have you been cooking up, Meg?
I guess I've been more mixing up stuff. I've made a few more cocktails recently. I made a Wakanda Forever themed cocktail for the new Black Panther movie, and it's ube flavored. I really wanted to mention this one because it's probably my second most favorite cocktail I've created for this blog. I love the ube flavor. If you're not familiar with it, listener, it's kind of like a nutty, almost vanilla flavor. And I thought the cocktail turned out great. It's this nice, vibrant purple color. It was really fun to make. I need to work on my egg white frothing skills, but it still turned out good. And I also made an Enola Holmes inspired cocktail, which is pretty much a spiked London fog latte. I just threw some gin and some lavender into a London fog. And I love Sherlock Holmes, so I had a bunch of fun writing that. So if you all want to check out those and many more of my cocktail recipes, head over to whimsysoul.com and you'll see the stuff that I've authored over there. And I'm entering a cocktail contest, so fingers crossed. I'm pretty excited about it, though.
Ooh! Two things. One, how do you come up with these creations? Do you have to, watch the movies or what? Tell me.
So you'll know a lot about this since your job is also in social media and marketing, but a lot of these are to, practically drive traffic to the blog. And so, for example, when someone is looking for information about Wakanda Forever, they're often looking for it before the movie even comes out or right when it does. So most of these blogs I've written before I've seen the movie or the TV show, but a lot of them are sequels or continuing TV series so that I can talk about the show or the movie in an informed way and be like, oh, I really liked the first movie, or I really liked the first season of the show, and here's the new stuff coming up. So, for example, my next cocktail is going to be for the Knives Out sequel because, yeah, I loved the first Knives Out. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited for it. A lot of Marvel content coming up, stuff like that.
Wait, is that one going to be onion flavor?
It is.
Oh my God, man.
I mean, I'll tell you, my weird everything bagel cocktail has been my most popular one by far. So people want weird cocktails. I'm going to die on this hill.
So my other question, have you seen that cocktail competition show on Netflix?
No, I haven't. I think I added it to my list, if I remember correctly, but I haven't watched it yet, which I should.
There you go.
Awesome.
Yeah. God, you're so talented.
Oh, thank you. Well, I will obviously let y'all know if I win this cocktail contest. Even if I don't, I'll share the recipe.
Yay!
All right, let's head to the Great British Baking Show. We are going to start with episode 5, Dessert Week. Netflix says, the bakers feel the stress of crafting decadent desserts as they take on steamed pudding, lemon meringue pie, and mousse. Who will crumble under pressure?
Ooh.
Ba-ba-ba. And as Matt points out, dessert spelled backwards is stressed.
Hell yeah, it is. Like we all are.
So we start out this episode with esteemed puddings.
Wait, can I ask a question that maybe you won't answer because LJ's not here? I didn't understand the cold open at all.
I did not either. I don't know what they were referencing at all, and I'll be honest, I did not look it up.
Yeah, because I'm used to having a Brit here who knows everything.
Right? She has to tell us about these outdated British references.
I have no idea. Yeah, they filmed 2 openings. Why don't they do like an American jokes version?
Yeah, if they're going to film a whole alternate opening just to say baking show instead of bake off, they might as well change the cultural reference too. We need to be pandered to, Justine, as Americans.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we do best.
That's what we like. Make everything for us.
For us. About us. Ugh, more on that in the back burner.
Yes. Oh boy.
But steamed puddings, a pud. They love a
pud.
pud.
Oh my goodness. So I like Shabira's watermelons. I like pretty much everything she's done so far in the show.
Yes.
It was a cute idea. They looked like watermelons. It was interesting how they sort of split open.
And she had taro ice cream and,
Yes.
and lychee custard.
That sounded
Love
so
it.
good. I want to try that lychee custard with the watermelon. They complained that there was too much watermelon essence, but whatever. I like fake watermelon flavor. It's the best
That's
Jolly
the thing.
Rancher.
That's the thing, is Paul hates essences and
True.
extracts. He hates, put a drop in it, he's like, no.
My delicate palate can't handle it. Ugh.
Anytime, I mean, we would be fine with it. It's his particular thing where he's just like, no.
Yeah.
But then what is watermelon flavor? Come on.
Right? How do you make watermelon flavor? I don't know. I don't want to say I liked Kevin's Clootie dumplings because they didn't look particularly appetizing, but I have to applaud that he's going outside the box.
Yes, admired Kevin's
Yes.
Clootie dumplings is the feeling that I'm feeling.
The humble Clootie dumpling.
Because he's making something that, like, his background,
Yeah.
you know? Sometimes that stuff's gonna be stodgy and
Yeah, and Paul pointed out they were misshapen, and it's like, well, but yeah, that's kind of how they're made, Paul. That's just what that thing is. Paul
Yeah.
isn't willing to accept things for what they are. He wants them to be how he wants them to be.
Sandro falling back on the booze again.
It's
There's
so
a
funny.
recurring.
He tends to overbooze things, even in Prue's mind.
Oh my god, though. Abdul's fig and date, saffron, cardamom custard, those look delicious.
They sound delicious. They looked beautiful. I really liked the finishing touches he put on this one. I can kind of go either way with isomalt. Sometimes it just looks kind of gross to me, but this was delicate. These little pink spirals of the isomalt with the pink, I think it was maybe white chocolate he put on the figs.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, it looked really nice.
Although I will say Abdul, he is sometimes a bit messy with his decoration. It's his biggest flaw in this show, is that, I don't know, it's the thing that he definitely needs the most practice on, because he'll just kind of like, ah! And, you know, and that's how he does it. That's how he decorates, from the place of fear.
Yes. So, yeah, definitely proud that these turned out well for him.
Carol's were just awful.
Ugh. So this was not Carol's episode, clearly. She struggles right from the start, burns her plums, can't pronounce chantilly.
I think she was so good at the beginning. I think there's just too many weeks, and she just started really falling apart. I don't think this is evocative of her baking skill at all. I think it's just, as you see the weeks go on, she's just like, she can't do it anymore, things that she's probably even naturally can do at home.
I think something that's interesting to see as the season goes on, and I think this must happen a lot, but it doesn't really get talked about, is that these bakers must get extremely exhausted by the end of the show. It's been going on for weeks and weeks, and so we do see people who started strong start to struggle more as the show goes on, and I think maybe a lot of that can just be attributed to fatigue, exhaustion, getting burnt out.
They film these episodes for 2 days, and then the rest of the week, they have to develop the recipes for the next episode. They have to practice. They have to oftentimes take care of their families, do any other work, like household care, child care,
go back to their day jobs often for a lot of these people. Yeah,
and to just do the show basically probably on the weekend. There goes your week. Imagine all the stuff that you save for your weekend to get done, and then it's just completely gone because you have to go on a baking show.
All just to win a cake stand and a title.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt bad for Carol because it's one of those instances where she knew what she had done wrong almost immediately. She said that the water wasn't hot enough for her steam bath. And that's always so heartbreaking because you see them commenting on their mistake in the moment. And it's like, well, then fix it, And sometimes it's a mistake that can't be fixed. But I think she could have waited just a little bit longer to have some hot steaming water.
Yeah, I agree with you. She's very fatigued at this point.
Yeah.
But I'll also say, definitely these middle episodes, like the two that we're covering today, they tend to be the point in which we're like, okay, we know the people who are going to be finalists, and then the others who, episode by episode, we're just waiting for the next one to get kicked off.
True. Yeah, there's this middle time where, like you said, there's the standouts, and you're not quite to that point yet where it's only good bakers left and it's just a matter of being perfect, and if you make a small mistake, then you're kicked out. We're still in the sort of SAG area where it's like, well, there's people who obviously aren't going to make the cut. Yeah.
3 of them in this episode that we're just like, all right, one of you's going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And Carol's puddings were more like puddles.
How do you feel about Sandro really, really, really wants a handshake?
I think it's funny. I just find Sandro to be very funny, and I like that he's ambitious, and that's very much been his edit. He sets a goal for himself and then he gets it often. I don't think he did get a handshake in this episode, but still, he's still going for his more is more approach. So he's sticking to his guns. Literally.
That took me a second. Oh my gosh.
Those guns that Noel loves.
Technical challenge.
The technical is a lemon meringue pie.
And the instructions were?
Make a lemon meringue pie.
Okay. Do you have an issue with this?
I don't. I feel like this is maybe one of the few cases where, like Prue says, these are 3 elements to this pie. That's pretty much it. The short crust pastry, the lemon filling, and the meringue. And she says everyone should know how to make all of these elements. And I'm pretty sure I could make all those elements, and I'm not at the level these guys are. So I'm like, yeah, I feel like these guys don't need a recipe.
Okay. Yeah, no, I guess I'm a little on the fence with sometimes when I feel like Well, I feel like you're going to say, oh, yeah, the meringue should definitely be, like, high and, like, whipped and all that thing. Mm-hmm. And I know some of them did some sort of design piping and things like that. I feel like the design elements for something that doesn't have a description, to me, bothers me when they get critiqued.
But I don't feel like they necessarily docked points because Yanush's was very craggy, which I don't know if I would describe that as a typical way to style a meringue, and he placed first. They did tend to point out the people who had piped the meringue, so I don't know if they docked points for that or not, but I think mostly they were looking for height, and I think it is fair to say that it should be a tall height on that pie, especially from what I've seen of British lemon meringue pies. I've never seen a British lemon meringue pie that didn't have like a mountain of meringue on it.
Like 3-4 inches.
Yeah. The thing that would have tripped me up and does trip me up is I'm never quite sure when something is supposed to be blind baked or not, because I would think to myself, well, why don't you just blind bake all the time? Because you never want a soggy bottom, and surely any filling could cause sog, right? So I'm not really sure when that's called for or not. And clearly Shabira didn't either. She had never made a lemon meringue pie, and she only knew to blind bake because she saw other people doing it, and then she didn't bake it again after blind baking before putting it all together. So yeah, I could see how those elements would be difficult.
Yeah, Shabira, what did she say at the end? She's like, ugh, you just have to eat the stupid British food.
That was so funny to me. She was like, even if I don't like it, I guess I should eat all these traditional British desserts. With the subtext definitely being these weird British desserts that I don't like at all.
I feel you, Shabira. I feel you.
Felt bad for Dawn. She was really kicking herself. If I were in her shoes, I would be feeling the same way too. But she says that she's made lemon meringue pie probably 500 times. She makes it constantly. It's her thing to do on the weekend when she has extra time. So yeah, she was not so pleased with herself.
Can I say those ovens, though, that they use are so tiny?
You think so?
When you see someone put two round pans in together, their one is always up against the glass.
That's true.
That can't be good for any sort of even baking.
Right, definitely. But I wouldn't say that was necessarily Dawn's problem.
No. That's just something I'm thinking about when people do stuff at home and then they do stuff here. The ovens are completely different.
Oh, it's such a difference of ovens. I feel like that would be really hard because it's so important to baking, and I'm sure that their ovens at home are vastly different than the ones in the baking tent. So yeah, that'd be really hard to do.
Yeah, even when I moved from my last apartment to this apartment, the oven's very different.
Oh, totally. My oven takes forever to preheat compared to my last oven. And I'm just like, what's going on? I had many a late dinner because I was like, why is the oven still preheating? I don't understand.
They do get to practice with those ovens.
They do.
If they can. So I'd say by this point, they should maybe learn the ovens.
Every time you see a baker who has forgotten to preheat their oven, it's one of those things where wouldn't that be the first thing you check and double check and triple check? I probably would.
The stress.
I'd have a little list for myself. But yeah, in case we didn't say it already, Janusz placed first and Shabira was last. And Dawn was second to last, which I'm sure was a huge disappointment for her.
Yeah.
And moving on to the showstopper, we have hidden surprise mousse desserts. So it's one of those things where they want you to cut into it and see some sort of shape or hidden surprise element, and there should also be mousse involved.
This episode was just a sleepy episode altogether.
Yeah, it kind of was. It's funny too because Justine and I have been watching the show as it airs. So as we're recording this, we just watched the second to last episode. So it's kind of funny going back and watching it and knowing exactly what happens well in advance. So you're just kind of like, well, okay, let's get on with it. There's no surprise to it anymore.
Yeah. But I will say there are some standouts, but then there are also some folks who I feel like, okay, this is who they are. Kevin made something childish. Maxie made something boring. Like, Janusz did drips.
Janusz did drips again. I know, I was checking my notes. I was like, did Janusz do drips? I think he did.
Carol did something 70s.
Yeah. And even the ones that, well, except for Sandra's. I do think that Sandra's was like a literal showstopper.
Yeah.
Beautiful, so well designed, great execution. I mean, there's so much you could say about it. He just did a great moose earth design. I liked that he really thought about how to make something look kind of how it is, except very simplified, obviously, but just to be able to recreate something in a sort of realistic way, in this case being the earth and the mantle and its crust and all that, and recreating it in the moose layers. I just thought it was a clever idea from start to finish. And for once, he actually pulled it off. He wasn't too ambitious.
Yeah. No, and the fact that he did, 2 bowls, what is it, domes? He made a round thing that wasn't called for. Like,
yeah, it's really hard to pull off globes in baking, and he certainly did it. And even with mousse, which is not the most structurally sound dessert you could work with.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he really did great. Shabira's.
I love bees. I love puns. So, of course, I was predisposed to like it. But that being said, she put so much effort into that little bee biscuit. And for what? It was not, even if it had turned out perfectly as she had intended it to, it's like, it's a little black biscuit. I don't know. I didn't find it to really be worth the effort.
Yeah, I thought it was cute. It was definitely heartbreaking when it broke, but like when it did, I was just like, just wipe that thing off.
Yeah, I would have just called it at that point. And she had these cute little, I don't know, maybe they were fondant bees that she put on top. I think she should have just gone with that design element.
Yeah, because I think at that point she just really needed it to set, you know? So she'd also has been called out for missing her flavors this week.
Too much melon, not enough melon.
They wanted to really do this arc, like, Shabira, what's wrong? What's happened with you?
So that in the next episode, they can tell her flavors are back.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that Abdul is apparently a space geek. I love this.
Oh my god, yes. And this is like the start and it continues.
This is the beginning. Yes. And it does continue often and frequently, and I love it.
But yeah, his mirror glaze, that was gorgeous. I want like my room to look like that. The like pinky, purpley, sparkly. Like,
it was very pretty, glittery, purple. It's too bad that it was rubbery in texture, but it looked beautiful.
Yeah.
I liked the galaxy solar system idea. That's another smart way to execute on a concept. I don't want to say in an easy way, because it certainly wasn't easy, but, he made these round cake pops, essentially, to go as the surprise inside. And it's like, yeah, that's smart. It looks good. It looks like a galaxy, and it's not impossible to execute.
Right. Whereas Dawn, she was trying to do a toadstool.
Yeah.
Much more complicated.
And she made the toadstool itself out of mousse, whereas most everyone else's hidden surprises were cake or cookie or something like that with the mousse surrounding it. So she just had mousse on mousse on mousse, and it turned out kind of splodgy. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of, Maxie's, which is like, I was like, what? It was just like a circle in the middle, and he's like, oh, it's a sunset. I see it. And I'm like, no, that is a circle.
Yeah, I don't know why hers didn't work for me, and yet Abdul's did. I'm just like, that's not a sun. Maybe because the whole theme of Abdul's was clearly galaxy and space. Whereas, Maxie's was just a shape. And it's like, okay, you made a circle. Like, that could be anything. I guess it's the sun if you tell me it is.
Yeah. These, like I said, they're really starting to see who they are, and they've got like their own brand.
Yeah, everyone definitely has their narrative set in stone now.
Yeah.
So Sandra, 1-star baker. I think it was very well deserved. His earth cake kind of blew everyone else's out of the water.
Yeah, agreed.
And Carol was sent home. And
finally.
Yeah. If LJ were here, I'm sure she'd be celebrating.
Yeah, we talked about it the last episode of just like, Carol, you were just barely saved.
Yep. By the skin of her teeth. But she said that she can go home and weed her garden. So I'm sure she'll enjoy that.
Yeah, rather do that on the weekend than be in a stressful baking show every
Right.
day.
Okay, we're going to take a quick commercial break and we're going to go back in time to Halloween.
Woo!
And we're back. We are talking about the Great British Bake Off, Episode 6, Halloween Week. Halloween means fun fall favorites for the bakers as they create apple cakes, s'mores, I'm putting that in scare quotes in my head, and an eerie showstopper that lets their imaginations run wild.
Well, let's just start at the top.
Well, so I love the premise of this because I love Halloween.
Yes.
But I was also instantly disappointed that they didn't do this challenge for Helena Garcia's season.
Because she would have killed them all.
She would have killed it. She would have just wiped the floor with everyone.
Yes.
Because she made everything Halloween even when it wasn't called for, so.
Oh my god, speaking of her, I love her. And then her guest appearance on What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh my god. So good.
Perfection.
Fake Nadja. I love it. Yeah, everyone should follow Helena Garcia if you don't already online. Her Instagram is adorable. Tons of witchy baked goods and home goods. It's really cute.
So good. I feel like this is because of her. That's what it feels like.
So many fans reacted positively to her stuff that, yeah, they probably took that into consideration. And I think that liking Halloween, it's in vogue now. It's popular now. It's the thing to do, you know?
Yeah.
There's Halloween creep in kind of the same way there's Christmas creep these days anymore.
Yeah, but still the Brits are going to get it wrong.
Oh boy, do they. So even though I loved this premise, I do think that Kevin could have put more effort into his costume. He just wore a shirt that had jack-o'-lanterns on it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Although,
I was like, what was he?
Yeah, exactly. What was he? I don't think the bakers should be expected to wear crazy costumes because obviously they still have to be able to bake well and not be hindered in any way. But, you know, he could have put in a little bit more effort. The judges didn't dress up at all, and Matt didn't dress up, and Noel, he should have come as a full-blown vampire. He should have just been like vampire head to toe. I was a little disappointed in that.
The costumes that people did put effort in were so cute. And I also like that Janusz was dressed up as Noel.
That was funny. I liked that a lot. And Abdul is an astronaut, again, showing his space geekiness. I love it.
He's such a nerd.
Nerd. Nerd alert. We're all nerds here, so we love it.
This is love.
Yeah. So the signature challenge was an apple cake. I think that this is... What's that?
Why?
Oh, I was just about to say I think that this is good enough. I mean, it's autumnal.
Good enough, but why not pumpkin?
Maybe they thought that was too on the nose. I don't know.
I get it. I get it. But it's just, to me, it doesn't say Halloween. It says fall.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, they could have been more specific in that sense. But I also wonder if they have a lot of pumpkin desserts in Britain. I'm not sure.
Pumpkin pasties.
I stand corrected. So something I noticed, especially in this episode, but in this whole season, is that they say they want the apple to be the hero flavor. And they use this a lot this season. I swear they never really used this term before. Maybe I'm just misremembering, but they've latched onto it.
Hero flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when they do something that has multiple flavors, and then Paul will be like, but I'm not really getting a hero flavor in this. I feel like maybe he read a book or went to a conference or something, and then this is what picked up.
I mean, there's so many food trends. I would not be surprised if the trend is like calling something a hero flavor. But I guess what they mean by that in this case is that they want apple to be the dominant flavor. They don't want it to be any other flavor.
Which is so weird because everything that is an apple dessert has like cinnamon and the other sort of pumpkin spice flavors with it.
Yes, and apple cakes, especially if you're making a traditional apple cake, that's a spice cake for sure. Mm-hmm. But I like Shabira's flavors, the chili and sour plum. I wouldn't say I liked the look of it. It was pretty messy, but It
got her
sounded
a
good.
handshake.
It got her a handshake. It must have tasted amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to be like, I don't think she deserved a handshake. I think they just wanted to do your flavors are back. Bam! Secret high five. You know?
Right. Yeah, I would think that for a handshake, every element would have to be good, like both the look and the flavor. And Paul hated how it looked, so I don't know. He was handing out handshakes pretty liberally in this episode, though. Anytime there's more than one handshake in an episode, I'm like, come on. It's lost all meaning.
Maxie got a handshake.
Yes, I thought hers was very pretty, though.
It was cute.
It looked cute. The apple strips were cute. It has that naked look that I tend to like.
That's right. Speaking of naked looks, Janusz... Okay, what was that? That was boring.
It was so beige. It was like if khaki became a cake.
It's the cargo shorts of cake.
You gotta have pockets for the drips.
Oh my god. Ow. I hurt my shoulder laughing at that.
You okay?
I'm okay. Cool. So yeah, what was that?
I don't know, but I was not impressed.
Neither were the judges, because they said, this is a spice cake, not an apple cake.
Excuse me? Yeah. I felt really bad for Kevin because before his cake completely collapsed on itself, it looked beautiful.
Yeah.
I loved those apples on top, the peeled
Yes.
apples. They looked so pretty and so perfect. And then the little shards of toffee. But his cake was just too warm when he iced it and it completely melted.
Yeah. But yeah, it did look like it could have been one of Kevin's best if it
Yeah.
didn't melt.
They loved the flavors.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, Paul should have given him a handshake for that.
Yeah.
He liked the flavors, but he hated how it looked.
Oh, Abdul's was really super cute with the bonfire.
That was quite cute. I like the idea. I do think that it could have been a little bit more finessed, but it was really cute.
Abdul, like I said, I think he is strategically working on that decoration, so I see him pushing himself.
Mm-hmm.
Props to him.
Definitely.
This is us, like I said. I don't think he's gonna win in the end, but I like
Right.
his journey.
Yes, definitely.
And then, oh my god, so Sandro's cake with the skull on top, and Prue said that the ruined the cake? What?
It's a Halloween episode, Prue. Come on.
I know. I'm like, what? It looks cool. It's Halloween. What is wrong?
I know. It's pretty impressive that he made this very large sugar piece and that it didn't break. I think that that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's all crystal skull up in here.
I mean, it might not be the most appetizing because, yeah, you'd have to remove it to eat the cake, but I think it turned out well.
That's what I think. That's what I think. Halloween equals decoration, meaning over the top decoration.
Yeah, because if it's not Halloween decorations, then yeah, how is it different from just fall?
Exactly.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Should we move on to the technical?
Oh my God.
Or should we just skip it?
No, let's say what we gotta say.
All right, the technical is s'mores. And I can't even.
These are not s'mores.
These are not s'mores. Let's just start with that. These are not s'mores.
I was like, you know the meme? What are those?
What are those? Yes, precisely. These are Paul's version of s'mores, which are made of, get ready for this, strap in, digestive biscuits, chocolate ganache,
Ugh.
and marshmallow. So, okay, they managed to get one of the three
One of
ingredients
three.
right, but not in the preparation. They're like, okay, wait, here are some choice quotes from Paul. We want it to be as neat as possible. Excuse me? He also says, we don't want the chocolate flooding out. You don't?
How do you eat it? How do you eat it then?
That's the thing. I feel like that this challenge misses the mark by so much that you can't even see what a s'more is in these things. And it loses the essence of what a s'more is, what the soul of a s'more is. A s'more is supposed to be gooey and messy
and falling apart.
Melty. Yes.
And with graham crackers.
Graham crackers, Hershey's chocolate bar is the cheapest chocolate you can find.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. It's one of those desserts that I don't think should be classed up, if you want to put it that way. It's a quick, easy, fun to make dessert. That's the other thing. The real appeal of s'mores is making them, because you're usually around a campfire. You got to get your marshmallow toasted just perfect. You got to find the perfect stick for your marshmallow. You're usually doing it as a group. And to try to translate that into a technical challenge just takes all of the joy out of it.
Yeah, I do get making marshmallows. Like,
yes.
I get that that's something that I've looked into, because there are a lot of like recipes for making your own vegan marshmallows. I haven't done it myself because I could just buy Dandies. Like,
right, yes.
But like, I get that is a like technical thing you could do, is make marshmallows. But those were not s'mores. And even the judging, where they said like, ugh, we didn't ask for chocolate drips on this. I'm like, what?
Clearly, you've never had a s'more before.
They're like, oh, these are just too messy. And I'm like, wow.
And also, I want justice for Abdul. He places last because they say that he overburnt the marshmallows and melted them too much. But that's how you're supposed to have a s'more.
They look the best.
Yeah.
They look the best.
Yeah, the marshmallows should be a little bit burnt. I don't think they should be completely burnt, but they gotta be a little bit burnt.
The other ones, the ones that are standing there, no drips, no nothing, they just look solid and cold, which is not a s'more. Not how you're eating a s'more. You're eating the ones that Abdul make that are like, ooh, all ooey gooey, melty, yummy.
Yeah. Yeah, being nice and piping hot is definitely one of the appeals of a s'more. And one other thing I would say about this, speaking of seasonality, maybe you don't agree with me on this, but I don't associate s'mores with fall.
Right.
I associate
it's summer.
Yeah, it's summer. It's a summer snack. Thank you.
I don't know what they're doing in this show.
Oh, man. Is this how every other culture feels when Americans try to make their food?
Yes.
I'm sorry, everyone else. Oh boy.
Yeah, we've been holding that one in for a while.
The s'mores. Remember how we made brownies for our potluck for the last time we did GBBO because they messed up brownies so much? Maybe we should do a s'mores potluck. Although that wouldn't be very challenging.
Over here in the cold of January, where you're like...
So, not that it's too important, but Abdul placed last and Shabira placed first. So Shabira has a strong lead going into the showstopper, which is edible hanging Halloween piñata lanterns. Lots of descriptors there, but basically they want a hanging lantern, so something robust enough to hang, but also fragile enough that it can be busted open to reveal the treats inside.
So this is closer. Yeah. I can get on board with this being Halloween.
I can too, because lanterns, obviously, jack-o'-lanterns, huge part of Halloween. Candy, duh. So yeah, having little treats inside of a lantern, that says Halloween to me.
Yeah.
And then they have the freedom to, decide in what way they want to make it look Halloween-y. So Dawn has a black cat. Shabira and Kevin make spiders. Sandro goes all out with the skulls.
Janusz is crickets. Can I just say that Prue saying that insects are the future is the most progressive thing she's ever said on the show?
I completely agree. I was surprised, but pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I was
think
like, who is this?
I know. This is the one time where I'm like, I can't believe I'm agreeing completely with Prue. It's unheard of. But no, it's true. Insects are the future. They're sustainable. They're eco-friendly.
High protein.
There's millions of them.
This is from the two vegetarians.
It's true. I don't know. There's a lot of people in the world, and there's only going to be more. So we got to think about feeding everyone.
Yeah. So way to go, Prue. For once.
Prue.
Prue. But Janusz made a popcorn box that looked fantastic. The critique was it didn't have enough crickets.
I loved Janusz's. He made horror popcorn, I think he called it. So there's popcorn, there's eyeballs, gummy
Shards
worms.
of glass.
Oh, the shards of glass were great. I loved the design of this one. And I really liked the sort of surprise element. All of the truffles looked the same, but one was the treat truffle and one was the trick truffle with the crickets. I know, it was great. It was on brand. It was on theme. It looked really good.
Yeah, it just looked great. It didn't look like it was about to, like, fall off from the hook, too. Like, it looked stable, sound, gorgeous.
Yeah, I really liked it.
What did you think of Sandro's skull ball?
I liked a lot of things about it. So I mentioned before that, like, I don't necessarily like all black foods because I'm just like, oh, that's going to stain my teeth. I don't necessarily like bright primary colored foods because it's sort of an unnatural color. I don't really like metallic foods either because my initial lizard brain reaction is just like, I'm not supposed to eat that. So anytime something is like spray painted like gold or silver, I'm a little turned off by that. But I did like the design. I do think they didn't really show it, but you could kind of see that it got a little wonky towards the bottom.
Yeah.
Like the skulls didn't fit together anymore.
Nobody pointed that out. I too. They were like, oh, it looks great. I'm like, it looks so uneven at the bottom. And there's like one hanging off the side. I'm like,
they're like overlapping each other, but not in a good way. They're just kind of like all stuck together. Yeah.
It looks like he like ran out of room at the bottom. Was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I think to really execute that, you would need different sizes of skull, and smaller and smaller as you reach the poles type of thing.
Okay, cool. I thought I was going crazy because nobody said it.
No one said it. No one was like, oh, this is a little unfinished. But yeah, I agree. But I liked the idea of it. I liked that he made a chocolate sphere instead of cookie like everyone else did. But also his treats were too big to fit into the sphere, so he just kind of had a big old pile of them on the bottom. I mean, he did cram some into there, but he cut them down to size and things like that.
Not really a piñata then.
No, not quite.
Shabira's, she had a flavor combination that wasn't very popular, and it was orange and truffle.
I'm even trying to imagine what that would taste like.
I have no idea.
The judges didn't like it, though. But they're not very adventurous, as we've discussed on the pod. So
yeah, you should make an orange and truffle cocktail to see what that's like.
And then I'll just get comments that say, you're off your head.
Yeah, you're off your head.
Oh, boy. But it looks great. Shabira's spider was awesome. Yeah. I love the green light inside of the mouth. That really gave it a spooky final touch. That was
so good.
Mm-hmm.
Dawn's was ugly.
Yeah, I like cat stuff in general, so it's usually pretty easy to win me over with cat-shaped or designed things. But yeah, it didn't look so good. I liked the jelly eyes. I would have been interested to see how she made those exactly. I thought those were impressive.
Kevin's was childish again.
It was scary, but not in the way he intended.
Maxie's was bad.
Yeah, really rushed, really messy.
And it just ended up looking like a lantern.
Yes, there wasn't anything particularly Halloween-y about the lantern itself. She did put some marshmallow spider webs and a couple of bats on there, but it didn't scream Halloween.
No, I feel like she didn't really embrace the brief from the get-go. I think she just was like, lantern, you know?
And she did say, oh, I'm used to making cute stuff, so I'm going to make sweet-looking sweets, you know, something cute, something not scary. So, yeah, she could have leaned into the brief a bit more.
Oh, man. Abdul's lantern looked fantastic.
I loved that. I loved the literal jack-o'-lantern. I thought that was really cute.
It was very Evil Dead looking.
Oh, with like the claw marks along the side and stuff. Mm-hmm, definitely. And he was very brave. He used rose and matcha, two flavors that Paul notoriously hates. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. It doesn't.
Well, I think this is the best week, though, to go for it.
Yes, and, matcha, it's green. That's a great thing that's going to lend itself to Halloween desserts. They did like the matcha, but the rose, unsurprisingly, they didn't like because Paul hates essences.
I did matcha in my Halloween dessert. My episode of Justine's Cuisine.
Everyone, check it out on YouTube.
I did. I made little matcha monsters even before seeing this. Boo, 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 boo.
Matcha's great because it's naturally green. So you get something green, something that I think tastes good. I like matcha. I know it's a bit of a contentious flavor, but I like it.
For sure.
Shabira wins Star Baker. Not really a surprise. She really knocked it out of the park. Got a handshake on signature, got first in technical. In fact, they said that there weren't any contenders. They weren't debating about who to give it to. They were just like, yep, it's Shabira.
Which is so weird because I thought they liked Sandro's stuff.
Yeah. I thought that they would have at least considered Sandro, but guess not. And Dawn was sent home. I think she was, in the previous episode, just very lucky that Carol did worse. I think she obviously could have gone the previous episode. She could have even gone episodes before then. So, yeah, it was a matter of time.
Yep.
But I think after this episode, that's where we enter the territory where it's like, everyone's good.
Yes.
You just have to be perfect now from this point forward.
Yeah, that's when it gets really... like,
Yeah.
I love them all.
Yeah, you don't want to see any of them go. It's sad. Oh, boy. But yeah, so we still have a lot more to go in this season. But in the meantime, we are going to head over to the back burner for today's episode. On the back burner, yay, people are pandering to Americans again.
Yay! Us.
Yes, we are getting the Great American Baking Show Celebrity Holiday Special. This is premiering on December 2nd of this year as a Roku original. And unlike some previous attempts at the Great American Baking Show, we are getting the British judges for this one. So we have Paul and Prue as our judges. So that's a nice surprise, I think. The hosts are Ellie Kemper and Zach Cherry. And the bakers are Chloe Feynman, Nat Faxon, Darcy Carden, Joel Kim Booster, Liza Koshy, and Marshawn Lynch. So this looks really fun. There's a little preview on YouTube, and I'll be excited to watch it.
Yeah, I think this is because so many Americans try to torrent the British holiday special.
They have been giving us the holiday specials the last few years, but in addition to the holiday specials in Britain, they also have the celebrity one-offs. It's usually a cancer fundraiser. I think it's called Stand Up to Cancer. That's what it's been the last several years. But they never give those episodes to us here in America. So yeah, it is a little bit of a combination, celebrity plus holiday baking. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, we got celebrities too.
We also have holidays.
But I have not heard of half of these people.
Yeah, no, me either. I had to look it up. I'm like, who?
We might be old.
Yeah, I am not a young, hip kid. I am an older millennial. So anyway, tune in on December 2nd.
Yeah, I've got a Roku. I'll be watching.
Nice. Something else on our back burner, Claire Saffitz has started a Patreon.
Claire who?
Claire from the Bon Appetit Test Kitchen.
Oh, that Claire.
You may have heard of her.
Oh, yes. I remember. I remember Claire.
Oh, yeah. And I think you all probably remember her, too. And you'll probably be very interested to hear about a couple of our upcoming Reddit talks. So if you are listening to this episode today, when it airs, November 21st, Monday, there is going to be a Reddit talk with Claire Saffitz sometime today. We don't know the time yet at time of recording. So, scramble over to Reddit/ourfood and hopefully you can catch her. And then the next day, Tuesday, November 22nd, is Molly Baz. So, yeah, we've just got Bon Appetit folks back to back.
We're collecting them all.
Yeah. Molly is going to be answering your Thanksgiving questions. So you can submit questions in advance for her to answer. And that is going to be at 8 a.m. Pacific time on Tuesday, November 22nd. Moving on to shout outs. Heidi of Vibrant Visionaries listened to our episode where we discussed Mexican Week, and she said, "Those refried beans were heartbreaking. I mean, it's right in the name." We agree. Those were heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone like Heidi who has left us a comment on social media. You can do so, and we will shout you out here. Also, if you're enjoying the podcast, please leave a positive review on your podcatcher of choice. You can also buy merch at podappetit.threadless.com. A couple of other things we've got going is a newsletter, which you can sign up for at podappetitpodcast.com/newsletter. And finally, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're always on the lookout for more subscribers. And then coming up next week, we are going to talk about the Great British Bake Off 2022, Episode 7, Custard Week, and Episode 8, Pastry Week.
Ooh.
We're done with Halloween, Justine.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving.
Gobble, gobble.
Thanks for listening to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes.
We'd love to hear from you, so find us on Twitter and Instagram at pod_appétit.
And on Facebook at Pod Appétit Podcast.
You can also email us at podappetitpodcast@gmail.com and find all of our episodes on our website, podappetitpodcast.com.
Carla is a book drunkard, a 40-something with psychology and counseling degrees, a former freelance journalist and counselor who's never bored, a disabled introvert who sees connections everywhere, like John Nash, only much less mathy, a knitting fidget who intensely loves horror movies with a skewed passion. Like one of my heroes, Harry the Spy, I want to learn everything and write it all down, more likely than not in my bullet journal. Join me, and sometimes my friends, in my very strange library as I INFJ everything from unused angles. And please listen to There Might Be Cupcakes podcast, available at theremightbecupcakes.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all your other favorite podcatchers. It's gonna get weird in the best way. Let's play.